really sad things. Like, of course, as a human being, I feel sorrow for human beings. But when you really find out what's going on and you see what's happening, say something like a young child dies. A young child dies. And we think, like, what is my purpose? What is my purpose in life? Like, your purpose in life sometimes, like when you're a child dying or something like that, sometimes you volunteer to help a friend. Sometimes I say a friend's spirit. When I'm saying friend, we're using human terms here, but let's say a positive counterpart, somebody that you align with in the spiritual form. Because eventually we all align with it, the God, the thing. But even until then, when you feel separate, even as a spirit, you're separate. You're separate. So you have separate spirits. There are separate spirits. So then if people are like, if we're all God, then how can you become a spirit and not just turn into God? Well, because God is still the idea of it all existing. When you get to that point, you won't be talking about it anymore. You'll just be it. And people won't see you, but you'll see them. And you'll be a part of everything. Does that make sense? So let's say a little child that gets sick and dies of leukemia at age 2. Or a young baby who was born and died 2 weeks later. Believe it or not, its purpose as a spirit, as a soul, was, they agreed to that. They said, well, okay, I'll play the role of that young child that dies really quick. The pain that exists in our human life doesn't exist physically in the spiritual form. So they don't know how that feels when they do it, and they forget how it feels after a while. Or they know that they know what it is. They know that it's going to hurt. But then when they get done, they're like, oh yeah, I decided to do that, So when you see a sick, dying child, like, my compassion as a person is so loving, unconditionally loving for the child that it is in human form, for the soul that it is. But then when a person dies now, like, if I don't know them very well, it's more or less one of those, oh, that's unfortunate, but at the same time, it's nothing to be sad about, because they decided that before they came and played this role. Say, you decided to, when people say it wasn't their time to go, you could answer back with, it wasn't not their time to go either. It wasn't their time to stay. So they apparently already did what they wanted, even if that only took one day of life to make a lesson to their parent, because the soul of their parent said, I need to learn this lesson. And basically, let's say up in the afterlife, we'll say up in astral realm, when your spirits collide and decide and converse and however they talk. I mean, I could try to put it into words, but it doesn't matter. So we'll just say it as things that we understand, like your buddy friend spirit is up there hanging out. Yep, what's up, buddy friend spirit? It doesn't talk, it doesn't whatever, but you agree amongst yourselves to do these things. You just understand. You just speak in whatever language makes sense to all, and it makes sense then. So what you do is you basically say, hey, okay, well, I'll help you with this lesson you want to learn. I'll be the baby that you're having for 2 days to give you this little feeling of having something and then having being taken away. Wanting something so bad, having it being taken away. Being worried about having a baby and not really wanting it, but going through with it and then having it die. And then you're like, oh, it died. That was the lesson to show you that you get what you want. Sometimes deep down, like if you're afraid to have the baby and you're not ready for this yet, and the baby accidentally dies, then it happens, and people, and the baby accidentally dies, and the mother goes through this horrible turmoil and blah blah blah. But deep down, that they're not going to say to anybody, they weren't ready for the baby, and they didn't really know if they wanted it. If they thought that in their heart, I didn't really know if I wanted it, the baby has a chance of dying, because a soul out there will hear your higher self call, and it will play the role whatever you need. There's so many higher selves and higher things up there that you wouldn't understand. There's something that's playing the role of, it does whatever. Like, there are things that are just like, I'll just volunteer. I'll just go to the earth realm. I'll just go there, and I'll be whatever item I'm turned into, But some design themselves and work their way up to being a human spirit. And once you become a human spirit, I guess you can go back and experience other things, but you can do that by thought then. You don't even have to go back and experience it. You can do it by thought so much that you can feel it. Like, I can not pretend, I can imagine that I'm a bird. And honestly, I can almost, it's like I'm there. It's like I'm there. It's like I feel it, like I sense it, I smell it, taste it. I am the bird. If I'm a bird eating a worm, I can be the worm being eaten by the bird, feeling the worm being torn apart. And I used to get so scared because I'd feel it. But then after a while, I stopped feeling the pain of it because I realized that pain is just an illusion. But in human form, I still haven't been able to overcome pain instantly. But like if I hurt myself or like do something that's like a black or blue mark or a bruise on my wrist, or I hit myself real hard, and usually it would take like, you'd have a big bruise. It goes away in a day because I focus on it. I breathe into it. I give it energy. Like the more focus you pay to anything, the more it does. Say you want to be a rock star. Well, you pay attention to rock stars. You do rock star things, and you become a rock star. If you want to heal yourself, you have to pay attention to yourself. You have to want to heal yourself. You have to believe that you can heal yourself, and you have to see yourself healed. And you keep doing that practice until it shows, until it happens. And if it doesn't happen, then you didn't try it enough, or you didn't believe it enough, or one of those few key factors that mattered didn't happen. So this was a little more talk than I thought because I'm at work and I don't want to take my whole day. But I had so many more things just keep coming, and just, I don't know what it is. Like they're being interpreted as I go. They're just being interpreted as I go. Like some days I get so overwhelmed by it. I'm like, wow, that was massive. Like the whole Soul Quest thing that I received or interpreted today. I don't know how you want to say it, but the Soul Quest is amazing. Like we all do decide what role we're playing. Like before a play starts, and it's like, who wants to play the role of the tree? I'll be a tree, I guess. I'll just stand around. And it's like the people in life that don't really know what they want with themselves, don't really know what they want to do, because whatever role they decided to play, they've either already done it or it hasn't come yet. And it's going to come to them whether they know it or not, and they don't even know what it is because they're not connecting with their higher self and finding out what their quest is. My quest is to live a very long time, to teach people how to heal themselves, and eventually save the planet, help us move on into a higher race of being, a higher consciousness. Like there are many people doing this right now, but I am one of those people that's helping along with I'm not saying that I'm better than the rest of them, even though I feel I'm the chosen one. I'm just happen to be, somebody got to play the role of the president in this life. Someone got to play the role of the bum. Someone got to play the role, and some of them chose it, and some of them feel right at home as the bum. Some of them feel like they're not supposed to have a better life because they chose that, and that's what they told themselves. So now once you realize that as a human, you can change. And you can do whatever you want with yourself, and you can turn in. That's how some people go from, I went from a street bum to a billionaire, and they don't even really know how they did it. They just think it's because they believe they could be a millionaire. And of course, that's what it is. It's law of attraction. You believe you can do it, but there's more to it than that. It's not just law of attraction. It's not just visualization. It's not just quantum jumping. It's not just meditating. It's not just having faith. It's not just believing in a higher source or believing in yourself. It's all those things and more. You have to try to be something. If you just expect life to be handed to you, and this isn't working out, and I've tried to change. And I've tried so hard to change. I tried for 2 days and it didn't work. It's ridiculous, man. People are cracking me up more and more as I see it. I was in a convenience store today doing a delivery, and I saw like maybe 10 people in the lobby, and each one of them was just staring. Like their program hasn't kicked in yet. They haven't had their coffee. Once they have their coffee, their program will kick on because their mind's not going to let it kick on until they do that, because they tell themselves they need their coffee to get started in the morning. If you start watching people and seeing what I'm saying, you'll see it. And there's all kinds of great speakers out there, whoever you need to get there, whoever helps you understand in the way that you listen, then do that. But, don't put me down for trying to save the world. That sounds ridiculous that people would, but the more people I tell stuff to, and the more emotional I get about it, they're like, well, he's just mad, or he gets mad about it. And it's not mad. I'm that passionate about it. I'm so passionate about what I'm saying and what I'm doing in my quest in my life. I already know what it is. I've seen things that I've done in other lives. I see things that I could possibly do in this life. Things aren't always going to go the way I want, so I can't tell my future, but I see so many possible futures. That's what it is. And as things get closer, they become more in vision, and their visions become less holographic, and they seem more real. They seem more true. And then all of a sudden, that vision that you saw in your mind becomes more clear vision in your mind, and more clear vision in your mind, and more clear vision in your mind, until boom, it's right there. The more massive and major and hard it is to attain, the more you're going to have to concentrate and visualize on it and have it seem like it's getting clearer and maybe fading away, but then getting clearer again and maybe fading away. It all depends on your focused attention and how much you really believe in yourself. It's ridiculous, I know, but at the same time, it's not. Like, for people to try to grasp that with their human mind is like, yeah, all right, sure. Because they don't want to believe that stuff. Because they want to believe what they see on TV, because they grew up watching it all these times. Like, for every year you've been alive, that's 365 days of confusion. And times how many years you are old, that's how many times you've been confused. So for this day, as a even 10-year-old, you're 3,650 years old, 3,650 days old, So at that point in time, you've had 3,650 days of confusion until days. What are days? They're a unit of time. Why do we say I'm in a daze? Because a daze is confusion, and each day that goes by is another adding to your days. You know what I mean? This is the end of days. The end of days doesn't just mean D-A-Y-S. The end of days means D-A-Z-E. No more being confused. No more not knowing. I'm looking forward to the end of days because people have been confused. I love you, and I'll talk to you later.